Loading. This is the Marketing Mavericks podcast, a fun place of conversation with business owners from different industries at all different stages. We're shining a spotlight on what works and what doesn't when it comes to getting their brand's messaging out in this cluttered social media world. We'll also touch on marketing hacks, trends, and of course, AI. I'm Andrea Chase, your host, and I'm so excited to have you here. Welcome, everyone, to the Marketing Mavericks podcast. My name is Andrea Chase, and I'm your proud host. And today, I'm so thrilled that you're joining us, and I'm so excited to have Danielle Joworski joining us. We are so lucky to have her here as the visible CEO who helps female founders feel free to express themselves as a visible CEO. With a microbiology degree and a paralyzing fear of cameras, the last thing that one would expect Danielle to be doing is become an award-winning business leader, host of her own TV show, and being deemed the visibility queen. Once overcoming her visibility fears and finding that courage to create life-changing results after 40, she now helps others do the same. Her passion is to help make the process of becoming more visible easier for female business owners 40 plus so they can grow their businesses and impact faster. So a huge welcome, Danielle. Thank you so much again for being here. How's your Friday going?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Andrea, for inviting me to have this conversation with you. I'm really looking forward to it. And it's a Friday. It's beautiful. It's sunny. There's birds flying outside my window. It's great. No complaints. I hope it's as beautiful where you are as it is where I am here.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yes, it's a gorgeous spring day here. Puts a little pep in our step. And I think everybody's a little bit happier on a Friday as well. So that's wonderful.
Exactly.
So let's get in a little bit more to, if you don't mind sharing a little bit more about your business story. So a little bit more about the Visible CEO and what brought you to that business venture.
Absolutely. So where I am today, focusing on visibility, comes from the fact that in my first business, so Visibility Truth, I am on my business a second time around. In my first business, I failed to be visible. I had such a challenging time putting myself out there, shining that spotlight on me and what I did. When you don't do that, I was not able to be seen and heard, which means I could not be found and hired. Really struggled to be an entrepreneur. I would try doing videos. I would spend hours, countless hours recording video onto my phone only to delete it or post it and then do this and secretly hope that nobody saw it. There was a lot of self-image issues. I had some confidence issues and even esteem issues that after a couple of years, I said, this isn't working. Something's going on. It's me. There's something kind of holding me back. So I returned to the corporate world, and that really became the catalyst to really stepping out and facing my paralyzing fear of the camera straight on, and then taking all those different steps in that journey to where I am today.
I love that, Danielle. So thank you so much for shedding light on that. I think you also touch on something really interesting about this is not your first business venture. And I think we need to create more visibility and awareness around the fact that sometimes business ventures don't work out. A lot of the times they don't. There's a lot of things we see on social media and we think all these people, they just started a business and it's flowing, but that's not the real truth behind it, right? So there's a lot there. So what was the first business, if you don't mind me asking?
It was focused on leadership development for women and girls. So I did coaching, I did some workshops, mother-daughter workshops. I also at the time had written a book that was all about empowering women to empower girls. It was just, that's what I did, but I didn't do much because I could not, again, put myself out there, believe in what I was doing, believe that I could actually be an expert. Like you, I fully agree. When I made the decision to step out of corporate that first time, it was literally on my 40th birthday. I said, I can't do this anymore. No longer the path for me. The internet made the laptop lifestyle seem so easy. My friends who all loved their careers and what they did were all entrepreneurs, and they were all very successful. But I thought, oh, again, how hard can it be? Not realizing and really thinking about the fact that I had grown my corporate career for over 15 years at that point in time. They had been growing their businesses for over 15 years. So while we both had achieved success in our relative worlds, I didn't equate that it had taken them 15 years to grow this business and get to where they are. So I didn't really have a lot of really good insights that first time, which meant I struggled. And stepping out of corporate as well, I realize I now can look back and realize and say that my identity and who I saw myself as, the value that I placed on myself, was all around the title that I had and the salary that I was earning. When I did not have those things, I would look in the mirror and just say, I don't know who you are. I don't know who I am. Who is Danielle? I don't know.
Yeah.
Part of that visibility journey and the struggle the first time in the business was really doing that deep inner work to understand and ask those hard questions. Who am I without the title of even mom, without the title of daughter and friend, boss? Who am I? And what do I truly want? At the same time, I was doing that really deep work and trying to grow a business, which was challenging in itself because I didn't know who I was. And here I was, trying to step out and be seen and be heard and be visible when there was all this stuff happening on the background. So I feel it was a really jumbled mess the first time. However, it became a source of a lot of really key learning moments that when I stepped out into business the second time, I was very intentional about not repeating.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm so grateful that you're sharing so authentically about that, because I think there's a lot of fear just from my own experiences as well around failure and around things not working out. But I think you touch on something really crucial as well. The inner work is tied to the outer work and the work that we're doing in our businesses. If we're all mixed up inside, if we're struggling with imposter syndrome or all of these other things, how can we expect our businesses to flourish if we're not flourishing ourselves, right? So I really, really value the fact that you share about that openly. And clearly you did the work. You're here today and it's a whole new life, it sounds like, for you. So how are you enjoying the business today? How are you feeling in your role, in your entrepreneurship position, I guess I would say?
Oh, great question. And I'm again going to continue on with being very open and honest and transparent about this, because being a business owner, so I'll kind of map it out for everybody. Corporate, 15 years, stepped out, chose to step out, became an entrepreneur, did not work, again, failed being visible. So I stepped and returned to corporate just to kind of get my feet back wet, get that consistent income coming. So I didn't have to feel the pressure of generating it as a business owner.
Right.
I then created, pitched, and then produced and hosted my TV show while I was in corporate, again, that second time. And then when my contract finished, I said, okay, I'm going to learn from everything I learned. I stepped out again. I've been in business now that second time for just over 2 years. I'm now at the point where towards the end of 2023 and at the beginning of 2024, I really sat and I felt that something was missing. I really enjoyed being an entrepreneur, the freedom, the sense of fulfillment that comes with it, and the work that I love and I get to do. I get to do this beautiful work, which is fantastic. I was missing something though. And I had to, again, go back into the inner work and understand what's missing and why. When I really got honest with myself and had those hard conversations with myself, I realized and openly started to share that as much as I enjoy being an entrepreneur and it's part of who I am, I can't shut the door and ignore that I'm also 20 plus year corporate gal. And there are elements of that world that I also love. I thrive in having a really inspiring boss that I get to learn from, having a team to work with collaboratively towards a much bigger goal than any one of us could achieve as an individual. Things like that, even physically leaving my house. I am not built to be 100% remote working. I miss getting up in the morning, dressing up, putting my shoes on, and physically driving and going into an office and feeling the energy of real people.
Gotcha.
So I found all this. So where I am in my business right now is really this beautiful place where I've made a decision and it feels really good to be part-time business owner and start exploring options to work for other people, other individuals, other entrepreneurs, other corporations, with a strong focus on there has to be alignment. It has to feel good, because I don't want to jump into roles and in my past where I did, just because, again, I was chasing titles and money and income and things like that. Alignment is much more important to me at this phase in my life than the income, than the titles. I'm about it's alignment and impact. I want to leave an impact and I want to help others achieve their goals. So I'm just open. I'm open. And it's interesting being open, doing the hard work, doing that inner work. It's really interesting what opportunities have flowed into my presence, my experience. And now I just get to choose. I get to really say, okay, well, this is coming my way. Is it what I really want? How do I feel about it? And then I have that power, that confidence to say yes or no. And it's this beautiful place to be in.
I was just going to say, that sounds like you took the words out of my mouth, a beautiful spot to be in, that you get to choose. Everything's very intentional. And you're kind of, it sounds like to me, marrying the best of both worlds at this point. You are not forgetting that corporate is a part of who you are and what makes you a successful business owner, but you also have this entrepreneurial experience now. So I think it's a beautiful synergy personally. And I'm really excited as a fan of yours to really be able to see where this leads you, because I know you've been kind of teasing a little bit about this on your social media recently. So that kind of takes me into that part of the conversation. I would love to learn a little bit more about your marketing initiatives, because that's why we're here, of course. We're the Marketing Mavericks podcast. So what does your marketing plan look like? Is that you? Do you curate all of your own marketing and produce all of your materials yourself? Or have you outsourced somebody for that? Or is it a bit of both? Would you mind sharing that?
I can absolutely share, Andrea. So I do all my own marketing.
Awesome.
So all my posts that you see, it is generated by myself. So I shoot the videos. I use, again, I'm not a graphic designer. I use these beautiful apps and tools that are available online to create things. However, I'm not using AI to write any of my posts. So everything that I write is from here. It is written from the heart. It is written from, sometimes it just kind of flows through me, whatever message needs to come out, but it's written by me. In the past, I have sourced out and used different social media managers to do my posting for me, because I felt I want to get something off my plate. I want to create some time freedom.
For sure.
But it always, like 3 months, it's only ever lasted 3 months. Because there's something about, for me, because I focus on visibility and I work so hard to really understand and gain confidence in who I am and my voice.
Right.
It always got to the point where I felt that no one else can replicate my voice. People have gotten really good. People, they're skilled. Copywriters, content creators, they are skilled. They're brilliant. I just felt, though, at the end of the day, I need to be authentic and showing up and being visible, because that's what I talk about. And I really wanted to make sure it's my voice. So I'm doing all my own content. So I obviously get brand photos done, but I'm totally fine just taking this thing and recording videos and snapshots and things like that. But when it comes to a marketing plan per se, I don't have a formal marketing plan.
Okay.
Part of it is I want to ensure I do a blend and a mix of static posts to educational posts to call to actions and videos. However, I find for me, I do not plan out. I used to plan out 2 or 3 months at a time and go into my Sign app and plug them in.
Right.
I found for me, so much changes in the world. And I would much rather have whatever message I'm saying resonate for the now versus trying to plan something out a few months ahead of time. And then who knows what world events are happening, and the message back then maybe doesn't hit right in the moment. But for me, I found just kind of watching trends, listening to what my clients are saying, being in the environment and seeing what the biggest challenges are for my ideal audience, my ideal customers, those female entrepreneurs over 40, listening to them and really speaking to them in that present moment.
I respect that. I appreciate the fact that, especially where you're sitting, you are the visibility queen, I like to say. And so I can appreciate, though, the fact that there's people that they're not you, they're not your voice. So I think, obviously, I'm a little bit biased sitting where I sit, but I also really see what you're saying. And I don't believe that necessarily everybody needs to hire a marketing agency and that's going to deem their success. I think that there's a place and time, obviously, for that, but you're doing a great job with your marketing. You're posting pretty regularly, it seems. Your things look, to me, really polished and clean. And like you said, it's your voice and things change over time. I think it's interesting, the notion of planning 2 to 3 months in advance, actually, because we don't plan that far out either, because like you said, I think you touched on something really key there. Who knows what's going to be happening in the world or the landscape around us? And I think we're living in a very tricky time in many ways, because we need to be really sensitive to that fact. People are going through so many different things, right? So I really appreciate where you're sitting with that. And I think, like I said, I think you're doing a wonderful job and getting your voice out there. I mean, you know your people better than anybody else. And I also am grateful that you touched on the AI piece, because that's obviously a hot potato topic right now. Everybody is trying to incorporate AI, and we like some AI, but I also know that there's nothing that replaces that human finesse and that human touch. So I think it's a balancing act personally. If one is going to integrate AI, especially for copywriting and things like that, you need to have a human massage it, right? You need to go in and have that human touch to make it authentic, I would say, because we don't all want to sound like everybody else out there anyway. So yeah, no, I appreciate that. So we know, and I think we can probably agree, that branding is about storytelling. It's that key piece to building your brand, is enlightening your audience about where you come from, why you're doing what you're doing. So do you have any advice for businesses out there, or women entrepreneurs 40 plus, say, who are trying to create, I guess I would say, a compelling brand narrative for their businesses?
Oh my goodness, that's a great question. Oh, a compelling brand narrative. Okay. Well, I guess what's worked for me is, in my understanding of that storytelling and the brand narrative, mine has absolutely changed over time. I used to be a really tight box when I started posting on social media. It comes from just me personally growing up. I had a big sphere around me. Like it wasn't just a 3-foot personal zone. I was like 10 feet. So I did not let people in. I was, my old license plate used to say ice in it. And there was a reason for it. I was pretty ice cold. And that's part of my transformation story. However, what I learned over time is that where I am in my journey, what I'm going to share, how I'm going to share and express myself, it has absolutely changed. So for me, that brand narrative, I made the conscious decision to openly share my journey through entrepreneurialism, my transitions in and out, even this current one.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's part of my life. It's part of that authenticity around being a business owner and an entrepreneur. But I want other people to be able to see. There's lessons. I want people to know that we're not always going to, I don't want to say get things right the first time. Because we're always on this journey where you're doing the inner work and you're open to personal growth. we're going to grow, we're going to evolve, which means what we share, how we share it, how much, the where, when, it's going to change, and that's okay. And what I talk about now, absolutely the fact when I was failing in my business the first time, there's no way I was going to tell you.
Right.
Because there was so much shame and guilt. However, I can talk about it now and then also be open and okay to be vulnerable to share. I'm in a transition right now as well.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I do not want other people to suffer or go through the same experiences that I did, feeling like I was an absolute failure in my business the first time by hiding things. This is real. Growing your business does not look like anybody else's. It is unique to you. So your brand story and how that's going to weave through your business, for me, it's going to change over time. It needs to change over time because you and your business are going to evolve and change over time. It becomes that conscious decision. And again, going back to the feeling good in alignment, what feels good for you to be sharing? What narrative do you want others to really connect with, that you connect with, so that everything you talk about and you say, it's all in alignment? Because I feel for me, when all that is cohesive, you will naturally attract and connect with people who get you, who will want to work with you, or at least really connect with that message that they need to hear at that moment in time.
That was so eloquently said. I could just listen to you for hours. I know we don't have hours, but I could listen to you for hours. No, I think you explained that in such a wonderful way. And I think it is different for everybody. That's the key. But you touched on the fact of being open, right? And what feels right at the time. What felt right 5 months ago may be very different than what feels right today. And I know as well, myself, having gone through a failed startup with ProCabbie, I was very tight-chest, tight-lipped about that for a while too. I felt a lot of shame around that. So I just want to say I can also empathize with you on that. But there's something so liberating to when you feel you can have your voice share about that. And the amount of people that may resonate with that, you never know who's going to hear that or who that may speak to. So I really, really appreciate you being so open today as well. We're almost finished for today, but just for fun, before we go, I would love to hear, and I know we kind of talked about this a little bit before, but what is your favorite account that you're following on social today? What account do you want to shout out for the listeners, that just something fun? It doesn't have to be business related.
Following. So I'm going, and I should have been a little more prepared for this. However, so looking at where I am at my point in life these days, I'm a little bit older and in a different phase of my life. So I actually started following an account, and she does really fancy mocktails. I still love a really great glass of wine, and nothing beats my Merlot. However, just really understanding that there's something more to an alcohol drink, because if I really want to sleep or not have so many hot flashes, I need to keep the alcohol at bay. So she's actually on Instagram here. She is called the Mindful Mocktail. So it's just
awesome.
It's the elegance, because even if I'm not drinking, I still want to have a really pretty glass of something in my hand. And
absolutely.
Yes.
No, I love that. And that might speak to some people that are going to listen to this. The audience may be in that, midlife place where we have to change some of those habits. So I love that. And I did take a quick look at it. There's so many beautiful recipes there, and they look really pretty as well, don't they? Yeah. And might also be helpful for somebody who is pregnant and expecting, they can have some fun with their friends. So thank you for shouting that out. But that's about it, I think, for today. Is there any last thoughts that you have to share with anybody before we wrap it up?
Just final thoughts. It's just really for anyone who is thinking about their business and their marketing, maybe overwhelmed with looking externally at what everybody else is doing and comparing or feeling like you should. That's what you should be doing. Just sitting back and go internal and understand and give yourself a little bit of grace and understand that where you are in your business and your visibility journeys is completely unique to you. You and your experience are going to change and evolve. Figuring out how to best show up in ways that feel good to you right now, that's what is going to connect with your audience. And instead of the external noise, focus internally, and it will never lead you to the wrong place.
Brilliant. Brilliant advice. Thank you so much again, Danielle. This has been a wonderful conversation. I personally enjoyed it, and I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much to all the listeners, and we'll catch you next time.